G'day everyone, welcome back to the channel. I wanted to make this video because there are a few myths about dinosaurs that are still present in the modern day. Things that have been debunked for, in some cases, decades and decades, but it just hasn't spread to the general public. People don't really know about these myths. Before I get started, I'd like to mention that there's a reason I'm not going to really be uploading that much this year. I'm in year 12. So it's like my last year of school. I've got university after this, at least that's the way that I would want to go. You never know, but I'm assuming that's where I'm going to end up. But yeah, this is my last year of high school, and after this, that's it. I'm off. So this is probably going to be the most important year of my life, and it's also going to be one of the busiest. So I can't really juggle YouTube, hobbies, things like that with my schooling. It all comes down to what's the most important. And as much as I love making YouTube videos, school comes first. Because that's literally the rest of my life. It decides my career. It decides really where I end up and how I go. Although I fundamentally disagree with the concept of education and how education is presented in the modern day. But that's a topic for another video, my thoughts on the education system. Anyway, so, dinosaurs. They were big and scary, some of them were little and adorable. People often think that dinosaurs were these massive, monstrous, quadrupedal lizards like seen in olden times. When, for example, Megalosaurus was first discovered in Oxfordshire, they thought that it was a quadruped, and that it looked more like a chameleon, really, in its stance and general appearance. That is obviously incorrect for most theropod dinosaurs. Generally, theropod dinosaurs, which is the group of dinosaurs that are most closely related to birds, and were all bipedal, generally they were carnivores. There were herbivores and there were omnivores as theropods, but for the majority, for the most part, they were carnivorous. The simple reason for this is because carnivores in dinosaurs, all carnivorous dinosaurs, as far as we know, have been theropods. Now, another myth that people juggle around quite a bit is that dinosaurs were stupid. Dinosaurs were actually quite intelligent animals when you compare them to what came before them. For example, synapsids, which probably weren't very smart, let's face it, although they were the ancestors to mammals. Believe it or not, you are related to a reptile. We all come from reptiles, even whales and cats. All down the line, we all come from the same common ancestor, which was Lystrosaurus. Yes, Lystrosaurus survived the permanent extinction. I'm gonna have to move on. I'm just rambling about random stuff. It's been so long since I've made a video, and now I can finally expel all these ideas that I have out to you guys, and I really enjoy that. I honestly do. What's another myth people have? I have no script for this video, if you can't tell. I'm just, like, spouting all this nonsense from my mind. What's another common myth that people have? People often think that dinosaurs, existed and then just died out. They actually lived for a very, very long period of time. In fact, they're the longest reigning large terrestrial organisms in history. They've lasted much, much longer than humans. Humans have only been alive for, like, that long. Dinosaurs have been alive for ages. In fact, they're actually still alive, and arguably they're still very prominent animals in the ecosystem. Birds are dinosaurs, which I guess would be another myth. People would think that lizards are dinosaurs. Lizards are not dinosaurs. Crocodiles are not dinosaurs, which is something my dad actually said. He said, oh, well, that makes sense, crocodiles are dinosaurs. And I said, no, you're actually wrong. Birds are dinosaurs. Crocodiles and lizards share a same common ancestor to dinosaurs, but they're not the same animal. They're not related. Oh, I mean, you could say they're related, but they're not descendant from dinosaurs. The word dinosaur itself actually means terrible lizard, which is something that I fundamentally disagree with. I think that it's one of the worst names for a group of animals that you can have. Although at the time that they found the first dinosaur specimens, Megalosaurus, Iguanodon, those sort of animals, it's understandable that they would think they were lizards. I mean, considering the teeth of Megalosaurus, the teeth of Iguanodon looked like that of an iguana, a lizard, people just assumed, well, they must be lizards or ancestors of lizards. But, yeah, they're not. I think that a better name would fit very well for the group that we call dinosaurs, but because of the scientific process and order of things, you can't rename something once it has been scientifically named. For example, Basilosaurus, which isn't a dinosaur, it's actually a whale, when they discovered it, they thought it was a dinosaur, so they named it Basilosaurus. They were like, oh, well, I can actually remember what Basilosaurus means. I think it has something to do with its teeth. Basil... I'm not sure. I mean, saurus means lizard, but the basil part I'm not so certain about. But, and then later on they realized, no, this thing's actually a whale. We have to rename it, and they couldn't because it was already named Basilosaurus. So even if you name something and it's later turns out to be something completely different to what you named it, you can't change it. I just went on a rant. I need to get back on track for this video. Another myth about dinosaurs is that synapsids, or some of you may be more familiar with the animal Dimetrodon. It looks like this. Yeah, that thing. People think that that's a dinosaur. They weren't. Just because something looks scaly and has big teeth doesn't mean it's a dinosaur. Synapsids have always really fascinated me because they were just so weird. I mean, don't get me wrong, dinosaurs are weird too. They're actually some of the strangest animals that have ever lived when you compare them to modern animals. But synapsids themselves are just freaky. They had this weird squat little stature, they had big heads with full of teeth. And not to mention, animals like, I think Hipposuchus, is that the name of it, Hipposuchus? That animal is terrifying. It's like a wolf mixed with a crocodile all in one. Oh, but imagine having that as a pet, that'd be so cool. Another common myth about dinosaurs. Dinosaurs were pterosaurs, or pterodactyls, as people like to say. That really, really annoys me. Because pterodactyl itself isn't really a genus. There's Pterodactylus, and there's Pteranodon. Pteranodon is the animal that is commonly called pterodactyl, or a pterodactyl. But yeah, it's not really a term that's used anymore to define them. In fact, I don't really know if it was ever used scientifically to define Pteranodon. It might have been, I'm not sure. Also, so these guys, these are, so all these animals that flew, we call them flying reptiles or pterosaurs. They weren't dinosaurs. Despite the name saur, they weren't dinosaurs. Saur or saurus just means lizard in, I think, Latin or Greek. I think it's Greek. It comes from the word sauros, which means lizard, I think. I could be wrong in that. Someone will tell me in the comment section if I'm right. But they aren't dinosaurs. They're very closely related, but they're not dinosaurs. Now the same goes for marine reptiles. You know, mosasaurs, plesiosaurs, ichthyosaurs. They're not dinosaurs. I think what really confuses people is the saur part. I think whenever, someone in the general public, understandably, hears that, they're like, oh, well, that must mean it's a dinosaur. Saur, dinosaur, put two and two together. No. That's, unfortunately. Although, in fact, mosasaurs are actually distantly, but they are related to modern-day monitor lizards. And if you actually look at the skull structure of a mosasaurus, for example, and you compare that with the skull of, say, Megalania or even a modern-day Komodo dragon, they're actually really quite similar when you really look at the bone structure and how they function. People also seem to think, as another myth, that humans lived with dinosaurs. We didn't. We evolved 65 million years after the dinosaurs were extinct. That's a long time. 65 million years. A lot of shit happened in those 65 million years. After the extinction, which used to be called the KT extinction, Cretaceous Tertiary. By the way, when we say Cretaceous Tertiary or Permian Triassic extinctions, we're referring to the periods before and after that event took place. The Cretaceous period marked the final period for the dinosaurs. That was the last time they lived. The Maastrichtian stage, which is the sub-order of a period, a stage, the Maastrichtian stage of the Cretaceous period, which was the very, very last slither of time that the Cretaceous period existed for was the end. That's it. That stopped it. Dinosaurs or non-avian dinosaurs were extinct. I say non-avian because we have birds. They're considered avian dinosaurs. Avian, of course, meaning flight or flying. Then you have Tertiary, which is the period that came after. Now, this is the beginning of the Quaternary period. I think that Tertiary isn't a stage. But I have a book, it's an old book, admittedly, that has Tertiary and Quaternary as both labeled as periods. So I'm not sure. I think Quaternary is the period. I think Tertiary is a stage. Anyway, it's Tertiary, period, stage, whatever it is, that came after the Cretaceous period. And in between those two times was when the asteroid, which has been judged as being about 30 miles in diameter. When I was growing up, we used to be told, or I say me, I just used to read about it in books and on TV. I was always of the belief that this asteroid was only 10 miles wide and 6 miles long. But apparently it's 30 miles in diameter, which is insane. It makes it much bigger than I previously thought. And it makes sense because an asteroid that was only 10 miles wide isn't really that massive. It's still going to deal major damage to the planet, but it's not going to, really cause a major level extinction for life on Earth. But a 30-mile wide one would definitely do some damage. And it hit in the Chicxulub crater in Mexico. There used to be some debate about what wiped out the dinosaurs. People used to think maybe there was some super volcanic eruption, maybe there were diseases going around. I personally think they were already going extinct. The reason I say that is because the dinosaurs, if you look at their population levels from the Triassic to the Jurassic to the Cretaceous, it's sort of like a pyramid. In the Triassic, they were starting to get up, because that was when they started out. In about halfway through the Triassic or towards the end of the Triassic, they really evolved and became the dinosaurs. And then they reached their peak in the Jurassic period. That was when it was the golden age of the dinosaurs. There were so many different kinds of dinosaurs. Sauropods, you had your theropods, you had ornithopods. There were so many dinosaurs. All these variations of animals living together in this massive ecosystem. And then you get towards the Cretaceous period, and the pyramid starts to slant back down again. Dinosaurs are sort of disappearing a bit. Mammals are on the rise. They'd already been alive for quite some time, but in the Cretaceous period they really started to kick into gear. The mammals were always held or suppressed by the dinosaurs. They couldn't really evolve because all the niches on the food chain were already taken by the dinosaurs. This is a very classic thing. Whenever there's a mass extinction event, whatever the lowest or smallest animal is that survives, and the big animals are gone and the food chain's empty, those little animals just evolve and take out their own places on the food chain. And that's exactly what happened. The dinosaurs, on the non-avian dinosaurs, I'll just say dinosaurs for the sake of it because I can't be bothered saying non-avian dinosaurs. When the dinosaurs went extinct at the end of the Cretaceous period, the food chain was just decimated. There was nothing in the food chain, or at least there was barely anything in the food chain. All the marine reptiles were gone, all the flying reptiles were gone, all of the land reptiles, or all the dinosaurs were gone. The land reptiles were fine. There were still lizards scurrying around and tortoises and things. The birds are the only surviving members of the dinosaur clade. There are theories that some dinosaurs may have survived a little bit into the Tertiary, but they would have either evolved into something else or they would have died out shortly after. Now, I am of the belief that smaller theropod dinosaurs, and possibly even some herbivorous dinosaurs living around the world, survived the extinction. I just can't really imagine, or I can't fathom, that it would have killed all of them off. I mean, it was a massive, horrible, cataclysmic disaster, but I don't think that they would have all died from it. I generally think that some theropods would have survived in a bit. Maybe they evolved into the pterobirds, you don't know. To me, it would make a bit more sense. But the point being, by the Cretaceous period, the dinosaurs were kind of already dying out. Or at least they weren't dying out, but there were just much less variety of animals than in the Jurassic. At least that's what the fossil record has indicated. Of course, there could be so many fossils that we haven't found yet, and we don't know. But I think that that asteroid pretty much put the nail in the coffin for the dinosaurs, which in my opinion were already on their last legs. I don't really know what else to talk about, to be honest. I make these videos mostly because I know that when I'm older, I'm still going to be using this YouTube channel. And I hope by then I'm a paleontologist. I really am. I really, really want to become a paleontologist. I would love that job. But I don't know, maybe I'm not knowledgeable enough to be a paleontologist, you know? Most of my knowledge stems from the Mesozoic era and the Quaternary. I don't know that much about the Permian, for example. I know animals that lived in it, but I don't know, you know, the ecosystems, how the food chain functioned. But yeah, I'd love to be a paleontologist. I think that'd be the coolest job, for me, at least. You know, you can get to go around to these amazing places. And I love writing as well. Like people, whenever I say, oh, I'd love to be a paleontologist to someone, they're like, oh, but isn't there so much work? You have to write so much. I'm like, yeah, but I'd love that. You know, I'd love to write. This probably won't make it into the video. I don't know, maybe it will. This is just me sort of expelling myself. But yeah, I might do another fossil collection video soon because I've got some new additions. Or did I already make one? I think I already made one. I would love to make a video about the evolution of cats because I just love prehistoric cats. I think they're awesome. Particularly the saber-toothed cats. They were incredible. But yeah, if you guys like this video, leave a like and subscribe. We've been growing pretty steadily. But again, I've mentioned this before in previous videos, but I'll say it again. I don't really care about subscribers and numbers and things. I literally just make these videos because I'm either bored or I want to just record my thoughts for future reference about my own endeavors. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all next time, whenever that may be, year 12, who knows. Cheers.